Hello, everybody. This is the Dash Trader Newsroom. To the moon. Bitcoin breaks 100,000. We've been hearing this prediction for a while. All markets near all-time highs, but what's next? My name is Michael DeGioia. I'm the Director of Educational Services here at Dash Trader, joined by my co-host, Jill Molandrino. Jill, how are you?
Good, doing well. It's great to be back.
Yeah, you've been traveling all over the world as of late. So tell us
Yes.
a little bit about your travels and experiencing the election abroad. That'd be very interesting to hear.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was kind of happy not to be home during the course of the election. Not only just to get away from like all the ads and everything, but just to see it through a different lens. So the week going into the election, we were in Hong Kong for a blockchain and global policy conference, which is always interesting. And then in Singapore during the election, and Singapore FinTech Festival really is the intersection of tech and global policy. So a lot of synergies there. And a lot of the commentary was around and something I truly believe in. And I sat on a panel and expressed this while in Singapore, that catalysts such as the Bitcoin ETF or little product things that come along the way are not necessarily going to move the needle. It's when the US has some sort of formal structure in place as it relates to digital assets, because while it might be in other areas like ASEAN, Europe, which is great, until the US steps in with that at scale, because we are the economy at scale, that's the catalyst that really spurs on further innovation and, really brings it to an institutional level, which is why you saw the reaction to Bitcoin and other digital assets and associated technologies following the election. Reason being is there's a couple things. While we were in Singapore Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock, it was 12 midnight Tuesday going into Wednesday in the States when the polls closed. It was the topic of conversation all day long, actually for the past, the couple of weeks I was there. So we were very popular at our media booth. But when it came in that it was a clear win across the board, and that there was most likely going to be a concession by the Democrats, there was almost a collective sigh of relief in the room, not selfishly just because we knew that this was a very pro digital asset, pro technology administration, but because there would be no question of who won. Is there a risk of people taking up arms? Everyone was saying it was going to be a civil war. I don't think that would have been the case anyway, but it removed that piece of uncertainty out, that we won't know who won. It's going to be in the courts. For better or for worse, for whoever you voted for, that really was it at the end of the day. The fact that there was a decision was very comforting to a lot of people. And again, being at very techy digital asset policy conferences, clearly, it was a big benefit to some of the, advocacy work that's being done there.
We say it here all the time. Markets hate uncertainty, and
Right.
all they wanted was a clear, definitive winner, and that's what they got. And we have seen since the election, Bitcoin skyrocketing to 100,000. It actually broke that price point today. Back in the early days of Bitcoin, I remember everybody was saying to the moon, to the moon. And it seems like at least we've gotten a little bit closer to it. The other thing that helped was Fed Chairman Powell, who came out and publicly became an unlikely ally to Bitcoin when he said it's just like gold, it's virtual, it's digital. People are using it as a form of payment and as a store of value. It's highly volatile. But it's not a competitor to the U.S. dollar. It's really a competitor for gold, and I think that was the last oomph that pushed it up above 100,000. What are your thoughts on Fed Chairman Powell's comments?
So, in a way, I'm not quite sure his comments were aligned with how I'm thinking about it, but again, the conferences I attend are very policy driven. We tend to think very US and Western centric as it relates to digital assets. How's it trading? What's it worth? How are we hedging? What products will come out of it? The fact of the matter is, a couple billion people around the world use digital assets, whether in the form of stable coins or otherwise, because they don't have any other way to bank or
Hmm.
any other means of commerce. So this um, distribution channel is being used to grow local microeconomies. It is being used to foster alternative forms of digital capital, right? So this is the future of it, and we don't want to be behind in terms of innovation, the brain drain, helping to set the guardrails around the capital markets, because at the end of the day, the US capital markets are the most robust for liquidity and marketing and a number of other reasons, right?
Hmm.
So we need to get out of that mindset where everything is about what's this price level? How am I hedged? Because this is actually a form of commerce in parts of the world where the demographics are attractive, they're young, and they're digital natives.
Yeah.
So putting the framework around that, the fact that also, the nomination for the SEC chairman, incredibly, digitally progressive.
Hmm.
This was the perfect scenario for it, and I'm hoping that we're moving along at, from a commerce policy, capital markets perspective, and not just thinking about it's going to be 200,000 next year. That's not advancing the ethos of it.
Got it. Got it. Well, let's jump right along. We also had this, kind of somewhat scary event in New York City. What's going on at United Healthcare? This is the largest
Yeah.
healthcare provider in the United States, and he got basically gunned down gangland style. I mean, it looked like a hit, but with the chilling words, which echoed a book from 2010, delay, deny, and
Mhm.
defend, and they were inscribed on the bullet casings that were found on the street. It was two shots, and why insurance companies don't pay claims and what do they care, what you can do about it. So what are your thoughts on this as we go into the end of the year? I mean, it's kind of a
So let's talk about UNH first, and then I'll get into, security thoughts after that. Um, Tuesday night, the night before this took place, I'm in law school, as you know. I literally wrote a paper on health insurers rescission. Rescission essentially is, if you don't have a pre-existing condition, or even if you do, they're not supposed to deny you insurance. There was, prior to the Obamacare ACA Act that was enacted March 2010, UNH and a number of other larger players were rescinding coverage targeting specific groups. So women with breast cancer, as an example, for ages 40 to 49, denying, treatment for rare causes in the cases of younger. Anyway, so another thing that I had learned through going through the cases were certain employees were compensated based on how many claims they denied, which is kind
mm,
of sick. Okay, fine. So
it
when,
really is.
right, so the ACA, again, whether it's Obama or whoever else, it was a lot of work. Legislation is incredibly tough, especially in today's day and age, but it has saved lives and has, cut back to a certain extent, insurer rescission. So when I saw this headline, actually someone had texted it to me before, you know, I think it came across somewhere on Twitter, on Bloomberg or something. Obviously the networks can't do anything until they confirm it. My first thought was, Mike, and I kind of hated myself for a moment, was I would not be surprised if this was targeted,
Hmm.
based on what I literally just like did research on for law
Yep.
school.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought. And then, um, as the news came out, everyone else was kind of echoing that sentiment. His wife made a comment to NBC News that he had threats, or for whatever reason. I think there's more to it than just being,
Yeah, there was a
you know,
DOJ investigation related to
right.
insider
So I
stock
think it's more
trading, and
than, it was
yeah.
more than that. But again, my first thought was they just guided record revenue projections at $450 billion.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, they're denying cancer treatment. So it would not have surprised me if a family member went off the deep end or whatever. We know things are highly contentious these days, but it was just, it could not have been I didn't know as much as I knew about insurance until then, and some of the stories that I heard and the research that I did. On the flip side, um, it, it not having security in today's day and age as an executive, especially let's say you traded in that stock and it went against you, or if you bought an Apple product as an example and it doesn't work, and you know what I mean. There's so many variables that create really unsavory situations for people at the leadership level. So
Yeah.
I think it was a wake up call.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was just walking into the Hilton Hotel, going to a shareholders meeting, and I mean, you know, by himself walking on the streets of New York, and sure enough, he gets gunned down. And it's clearly a message killing. Otherwise, there wouldn't be things inscribed in the shells. Now, whatever the motivations are, the idea here is that certainly this is a wake up call to all CEOs and of major corporations, that
Right.
they're that they should take their security seriously. And of course, my heart goes out to the family. He has two sons and his
I
wife,
know.
and it seems like if it's related to this 2010 situation, possibly he's only been the CEO for 2 years.
Well, this is
So
this is also the CEO of the insurance unit,
yeah,
not UNH as the company overall. But again, this is the unit that people associate UNH with.
yes, absolutely. Good to define that separate
Right.
unit as well. Well, let's jump into the numbers, because this is what we normally would be talking about. We had all kinds of other things going on, but the America seems to survive. I mean, the last couple of years, Thanksgiving Day travel has been horrible. Really, since the pandemic, we've had bad travel on Thanksgiving, which is considered the largest travel day of the year, with many problems. This year we kind of got off the hook and didn't really have too many problems that I saw. Needless to say, what do the holiday shopping numbers look like in terms of retail? We did see some losers. We saw American Eagle Outfitters and Foot Locker, both taking it on the chin. But we did see online cyber sales hit record highs. And then I saw this funny article. I mean, what's going to happen to the malls of America? Are they going to turn into housing units? As will people be living in shopping malls soon? So, what are your thoughts on the retail numbers and Black Friday and Cyber Monday?
It's interesting. Overall, the consumer is certainly strong, continuing to break new records. Shopping malls are interesting. I don't know if turning them into residential, actually, that's not true. Where my parents live in Monmouth County, there's a mall called Monmouth Mall in Eatontown, and they have turned that into mixed use where there's still a shopping component, but then also condos or something they built around there. I think shopping malls won't necessarily go away, but I think you'll start to see mixed use because it is an area for community, right? So
Hmm.
perhaps they'll put, we're seeing this already. Maybe a Walmart will go in there as an anchor, or food store will go as an anchor, and then you'll have like a condo community that will be part of it. You'll have restaurants, you'll have gyms. That makes sense. I feel like the trend is certainly online. I mean, my mom and I were shopping for some outdoor Christmas decor. I forget what store it was this weekend, and we looked at the prices and we're like, no, let's go on Amazon. It'll probably be better. It's free shipping anyway, right? So I feel like the stores are there to provide an experience and allow you to touch, feel things, and then you're
Yes.
going to either look for it at an Amazon or a Walmart, or you go to the company's website where they might have better online sales. Department stores, I can't remember the last time I walked through one.
Hmm.
Um, but you look at the numbers that are coming out, people are spending. I think it's a shift in terms of what they're spending, perhaps from travel and experiences back to bigger ticket items. Another
Hmm.
thing I want to point out is luxury items. If you're going to Louis Vuitton or Chanel or Christian Dior, that type of experience, you're still seeing people in
Absolutely.
those stores because one, it is a very beautiful experience to go through all that and get the bag and get the shopping and meet with a shopper there. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's going to change,
Hmm.
but everyday shopping, the trend is there.
Yeah, well, you and I have talked about this a lot, that the shopping experience has turned into that. It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's something that you do, that there's a need for that community, and shopping malls certainly do give that kind of community experience. Even like, going to a movie, like an IMAX theater has become more
Mhm.
of an experience thing where you go and you watch a show together. And, some of these New York City ones, they have like 4D, 5D surround sound, shaking your seat. So things are becoming more in that experience direction. But overall, we can see that the economy is robust, and that shopping, whether or not the consumer is in debt, maybe they're going to be more in debt at the end of the shopping season, but they're still spending money at this point in time.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Well, I guess next time I see you will be in 2 weeks. And Jill, have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
All right. So, well, we'll talk to you the week before Thanksgiving, so we'll really see how the consumer's doing
Yeah.
then, won't we?
Take it easy, Jill. See
All
you
right.
soon. Ciao.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike.
All right. So let's start going through the charts here. So here we have the Nasdaq, the QQQ. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. We've pretty much been up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. This is our first day with a reversal bar. We are at all-time highs on the Nasdaq. We have the DIA, which represents the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Dow Jones has been kind of pressing here at the highs, but it's kind of hitting some resistance. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the DIA, probably ripe for a pullback, although the pattern still indicates that we are firmly in an uptrend. We have the SPY, which is also at all-time highs and is not near its moving averages, so certainly could pull back as well. We have Apple, which certainly has been on a tear. Apple recently broke out from the crossed over moving averages, but probably ripe for a pullback. MSFT. Microsoft also doing better than it had been doing previously. NVIDIA, kind of stalling after its, excellent earnings report and putting in a top on its earnings numbers. And of course, we have Tesla, which, as we all know, has been also on a tear. Elon Musk choosing wisely when it comes to who he supported for president. And next, we have, which one? We had NFLX. Netflix, I mean, it has been off to the races with Netflix. A lot of people had been number of years ago had projected that Netflix has kind of lost its luster. Netflix has certainly pulled the rabbit out of the hat, and it reignited a tremendous run to the upside. And Meta as well has done exceptionally well in recent times. So pretty much every one of the Magnificent Seven is at all-time highs. Let's take a look at GLD, because we talked a little bit about gold. Gold losing a little bit of its luster as of late, as GBTC, the cryptocurrency equivalent, has doubled. It has gone from literally $38 all the way up to 81.25 at the high. So cryptocurrency, Ethereum, Bitcoin, has made an incredible run, and really the Trump presidential election and Trump being president elect and being very pro crypto has made a huge impact on on the markets, and certainly the cryptocurrency market, and certainly Fed Chairman Powell's comments helped as well. So let's jump back to our charts for 1 second. So here we go. So so that was our market analysis section. So stay up to date with all things DAS, and by signing up for our monthly newsletter and email. Simply fill out the form at the bottom of our webpage. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at DAS Trader TV and the DAS Newsroom Reminders. Follow us on social media at LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Again, we hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with you and your family, and we wish you a very happy holiday. See you in 2 weeks, right before Christmas. Bye all.